Hello, and if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. We are Remarkist, communities of fans who watch television shows and movies together virtually, but as if we're in the same room, gathered around the same television. We do this using the Clubhouse app, and we would love to have you join us for future watches. You can simply make an account on Clubhouse and search for our name, Remarkist, to find our club. Or if you'd like more information about the project as a whole, please visit remarkist.com to learn lots more about who we are and what we do. As for our recordings, remember that we always get our episodes started but paused at the 0-second mark and count down to pressing the play button together at the same time. That way, our experience can be as synced up as possible. You can pause this for a moment to get that set up, or if you're ready to go, let's get this thing started.
We always jump past the previously on. I don't know if there's a previously on, but I have to imagine it's the season finale that there is, if it's on the DVDs. There isn't one on Netflix. But if you're watching the DVDs, jump ahead, jump past that to literally right the start of the episode, because that's where we start. And we do that on the count of 3, which we'll do in just a second. First, I'm going to get the recording going. Are there any questions? Great. I've started my recorder, and we are going to press play on the episode on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
There she is, John.
Yep.
I love that scene.
Wait a second. Was he really there? Yes.
Yeah, he was.
He was.
Okay. I was
He's
like,
perfect timing.
I was like, man, this show has really made a change here.
But I wouldn't put her past her for Lorelai to go a little bit cuckoo. John, are you eating shredded wheat again?
Sorry, I realized that I was crunching, and then I was like, oh my God, my mic's off. Which, by the way, I didn't mention this, but when we're not speaking, we keep our mics off so that people don't hear us crunching our food. I'm eating pita chips.
My dog is snoring very loudly in the background, so I apologize if you guys can hear that.
Matt, there are a lot of credits here. Yikes.
Oh, yeah. Just give him some type of chance, John.
I don't know. I cringe on these.
I'm with you, John. I've never.
Well, who do you want her to be with then?
Yes, he is cringeworthy.
John is Team Chris right now.
Well,
Christopher. I want her with Christopher.
you're very ambitious. One of my favorite lines.
Uh-oh.
Here's your moment, John.
Here it is.
I knew it.
Just wait.
I always thought this was such a weird perspective because, like, she's never been married. So, like, what makes you think that when you're married, you're going to want to pull out boxes and stuff of all your ex-boyfriends? Such a silly, strange thing to say.
Yeah.
Also, the closet is suddenly on the other side.
Well, remember, there's no bathroom downstairs anymore. If you remember from earlier. Because where the bathroom was is where the closet is now.
I missed right before they met here, because I got the doorbell rang and I had to deal with my dogs and getting something there. Did I miss anything major? She was sitting on her bed with the box, and then
No, they were just Rory and Lane were just walking and talking, and Lane was talking about how this one girl thinks she's cheerleader material. That's all.
oh, there's the cheerleading thing.
Okay. I was just wondering.
We have another boy name besides Bag Boy, Box Boy.
Thursday afternoon girl. I don't even know what that is.
She definitely just made that up.
On the lead singer of Blur.
I mean, she said Nico, so that's pretty legit.
I love that he plays on a 12-string guitar. Just saying.
He's just all around awesome.
God, I love how smart he is. Oh, God. Why did he do that?
Idiot.
Yeah, I don't know why. That just seems delicious.
He's just a dink. I don't think Tristan's used to hearing no.
No. No, he isn't.
I don't think I ever noticed that.
My entire life, I wish I had a dance teacher like Patty.
That was weird that she was like, "Oh, Rachel," but I hadn't actually seen Rachel in the shot yet. That's very odd. Just an editing thing.
Word.
I love this episode.
So good. There can only be one.
Did you ever get to work with the other troubadour, John?
I didn't know that there was another troubadour. You mean the town with Cranley Phillips, or with that other guy?
Well, just that other guy that we just saw.
No, I've never seen that guy in my life. I assume that was just a gag for this episode, but I guess not.
Oh no, that guy has great produce.
Spoiler.
I mean, not that that means anything.
His real name is David Gruber Allen.
Wait, which one?
The guy with the long hair, the other troubadour.
The plaid shirt is back.
He's so hiding from her.
As soon as he's around Lorelai more, he starts wearing plaid again.
Timestamp, please.
1850. It was actually a little behind that, but I always say it like about three or 4 seconds ahead.
I love this part.
Oh, I remember the thing.
love this part so much.
I'm a nice person. I'm a Girl Scout. Bye.
This is a good Team Dean episode.
Why were they unwrapped? Aren't those usually like wrapped in plastic? That seems kind of weird.
Ring pops are the best and good for any age, I think.
I like the ones that are like multicolored.
Town meeting, yay!
The first one without the mayor, though, by the way.
I love that they're just eating the food like in the second row.
I love Maury.
Looks like you're going to get your town episode, John.
Sometimes you have something
Here
you
we go.
say, but you can't because the words won't come.
You go, girl.
Oh, Rory.
This is her first speech, isn't it?
So, give this guy a license.
Did she even draw breath through that little monologue?
No, she didn't.
That was a really insecure look from Max.
Well,
Is Eris already here in the series?
I don't think so.
We haven't seen him.
We've just set up the name of the character.
Just watch.
I didn't like him and Rachel together, but I still feel really bad for him.
For him or for her?
For Luke.
She's so feisty.
A little bit of a bitch.
Congratulations.
Sorry, my language.
Oh, that is an awesome shot.
How cliche.
Bert is like its own character on the show.
Oh, well.
Here we go. Oh my god.
Very weird.
Everyone loves a good
That
little
was a great
pissing contest.
First
That was
of many.
a great closing line from Luke, though. He says we when he kind of started all this.
And there it is.
Yuck.
Just so much wrong.
Am I the only person who's in any way a slight fan of Max? I'm not mad at Max. He's not my favorite, but I don't hate him. Well, thank you, Charlie.
I don't think I hate him like here. I mean, like it's like later I'm more of a fan, but like this is just kind of like cringy.
Yeah, I agree.
I hope you were able to read the dialogue.
That scene soured my night out with them.
Oh, I will forever love that line.
Oh, come on, people. Who cannot be on Team Dean? I mean,
okay,
I'm not Team
Dean.
I am Team that line. I am Team that line.
And by the way, because I love you, you idiot, also is a throwback to Because I'll Kill You, you idiot. Do you remember when Dean says that to Tristan?
Yes.
Like one of my favorite lines in the whole series.
I've used that line. The I love you, you idiot.
Okay. That is way more than 1,000.
Like 1,000.
That's like tens of thousands.
It's 1,000.
Who cares?
Yeah, Amy has said in an interview that like they put 1,000 in the room and it just looked dumb, and so they got way more.
So now over the phone.
I agree with you, John.
Yeah, he should be there.
Oh my God, it's just so cute, guys. Come on.
It is cute.
It's very cute, but like.
It's no I love you, you idiot, though. Let's be honest.
Well, yes, but like not everything has to be traditional. Clearly.
I mean, these are my favorite flowers, so.
I'm pro Daisies, but not pro Max.
I agree.
God, he could sell ice to an igloo, to a Eskimo.
You talk good. I think that sums that character up for me.
It makes me think of love languages. Or like Luke was doing actions, and then here this guy's using his words.
Words of affirmation.
Yeah, that's basically how I feel about it.
There's got to be more than 1,000 people in the town, though, right?
Forever will be my favorite season finale ending. I love the finale ending. Well, besides the series, but oh, the cutest ending. It's so cute. I love it.
This is the end here. Oh my God, that's great.
Season 1.
That was a terrific finale.
I love it so much. Hey,
It's
quick
just
question.
practice. Go ahead.
You said is who in this episode, and I didn't catch it. Who are you asking?
Wait, hold on one second before I answer that question. Actually, I'll need you to ask it again because I didn't quite get it. But first, just letting everybody know that we are opening up the couch. The couch has just gotten magically longer. There are now a bunch of new cushions that are asking to be sat in. So at this point, welcoming anybody who's out on a beanbag to hop up here on the couch and join the conversation.
T, just to answer your question, it's the population of Stars Hollow was 9,973.
Yeah, I felt like it had to be more than 1,000.
Yeah, so not everybody gets a flower.
In TV land, everyone gets a flower.
Everyone she knows, which is basically the people who speak, get one.
Wait a second, what?
Rachel was definitely wearing Luke's flannel. I just noticed it. It was
What? Wait a second. What? What? Oh shoot. Uh oh. Wait a second. Oh, because I got it. Because this is Netflix. I was like, why is my DVD playing a new episode?
Oh.
And I'm seeing like a bunch of Daisies all of a sudden. I'm being spoiled.
Stop it.
Okay.
Don't do that to yourself.
All right. So again,
Can I just point
Charlie,
out
ask the question again. I'm sorry, I didn't get it the first time.
You asked if somebody was in the show yet. It sounded like Paris, but I don't think that's what you meant.
Oh, I think you're asking about Caesar.
Caesar, yeah. I said it's Eris who plays Caesar. Is he in the show yet? And because I haven't seen him, so the answer I guess is no. But it's interesting that they've already set up the character of Caesar because they've already given him a name.
Well,
they just haven't.
There was another Caesar prior to Eric coming on the show.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was one.
There was like
guy.
an older, multiple skinnier Caesar.
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
multiple Caesars.
Interesting.
Before he becomes Caesar, like before he becomes like an actual speaking character. He's referenced before, but he doesn't speak until at least season 2.
But season 3, Eris appears season 3.
Oh. Okay.
So wait. So the other Caesars were just referred to by Luke, but they didn't have lines.
I mean, sometimes they have like maybe 1 or 2, but that's only very seldom. It's not like a reoccurring though. Yeah, more just been shot.
Can we just imagine that maybe he just hires people named Caesar?
Yeah, sure, good.
All right, let's do that. All right, so big episode, big episode. A lot.
I love that they end the show with the same music that they ended the first episode with, like the My Little Corner of the World. Like,
I didn't get that. That's cool.
I have this like autistic thing with remembering music in TV, and I just love that the first episode ends with this little song about My Little Corner of the World, and which to me just fits so perfectly with Stars Hollow. And I don't know who it is on here has talked about that they think Stars Hollow is a character, and feel free to speak out, whoever that is, if you're here.
I mean, I've said that before.
And I tend to agree, and I think that little tune kind of sums up this little world of Stars Hollow nicely. So it was nice to bring that in the first episode. And then I loved that we concluded season 1 with that same song.
I would love for Nikki, I don't know if you would mind doing that, but like if you are really good with like song names and stuff like that, coming up with like a little playlist, that would be so cool.
Sorry, say that again, T.
You were saying that you're really good with like the music that you hear and different episodes that you watch and everything like that. If you are good with like music, you know, of the names and, you know, the art, things like that, if you were open to putting together a playlist, that would be really cool.
I actually do have one started on Spotify.
I was going to ask.
I do need to do some more work on it. But yeah, I'd be happy to do that and to share it.
That would be wonderful.
I don't necessarily know who sang it or what it's called, but I have this weird autistic thing where like I can just hear a few lines of music and it can even be instrumental. And I'm like, I can tell you exactly what scene of what TV show or movie it was in. It's really weird.
That's really cool.
Tasha?
Thank you. Gotta remember to do this, guys. So I think like one of my favorite parts, I mean, I just love this episode in general just because there's like, it's obviously definitely tying up the entire season, and I don't think many shows do that very often. But what I love so much about this episode is one, like the whole Rory and Dean thing, and how like she like asked Lane, like, have you like on the lead single Blur, you have not seen him with another girl, and then it goes to her talking to his sister Clara, who, by the way, is named Scout Taylor Compton, who also goes stars in another movie in 2004 and then dates the lead singer, but that's not the point. And I love when they're fighting at Chilton and he says like the box of things I have of us, like letters and stuff, and then she totally gets all like blasé and like all out of her head going like, do you have a Rory box? And totally misses what he's talking about and stuff like that. But yeah,
that whole scene was just delightful.
See, I'm not Team Dean. I'm like team that line, like I love you, idiot, because it works. I've used it.
Yeah, but just the whole scene was fantastic.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know?
I mean, like for Dean to like admit that he has like a Rory box and that like he wasn't over it and stuff like that was very endearing. Like I'm Team Dean in some aspects, but we're getting very close to where I'm not Team Dean anymore. So, yeah.
Sherry, you want to say something?
Yeah. There's on Spotify. There's something a playlist that says the complete soundtrack, and it has everything, all the songs. But with the box, somebody during the show said that you're gonna get married, you're not gonna have a box. I've been married 21 years. I was with somebody for 6.5 years. We broke up 6 months before the wedding. I still have my stuff up in the attic. And the reason why is because it's still a part of my life. It's not a part of who I am now, but it made me who I am now. So to just throw out everything from a big chunk in somebody's life because you're not with them anymore, it doesn't change who you are. So I know plenty of people who still have boxes from relationships from years ago.
I guess I meant that I didn't think you would pull them out regularly and look at them. That was what she was referring to, and that was kind of my point. But I mean, I guess everybody's, past relationships are different, and I just had bad past relationships, I guess, that I don't really want to go back and remember.
Yeah, I don't really. Do you? Here's a question. I'm actually asking Babsy right now.
Hi.
Do you have a box from somebody from your past for me?
Well, I mean, since I moved to the US from Germany and basically got rid of everything except for a few.
But did you keep anything in your parents' attic?
No, nothing from my ex-boyfriend. No, actually, that's not true. Like there are Well, there are like probably a couple of things from like elementary school, like from boys, in elementary school. Like again, no boyfriend in that sense, but I might have my ex-boyfriend. He was a really good painter / drawer. So
oh yeah, there is something.
I
remember that.
I have like a couple of his drawings that he made for me, maybe still left, but I don't even know. And yeah, nothing here in our house though.
Yeah, it makes sense to me that somebody would have things from their past. It doesn't seem weird. I don't think that I'm sort of with you, Sarah, that it gets a little weird when you think that the person's like constantly like revisiting it, but to occasionally revisit your past, I don't think that there's anything odd about that.
I understand. I think her general sentiment of like, yeah, I threw away stuff from years ago that I'd kill to have now, is probably true. I think it's a strange thing, I guess, but they have a very different mother-daughter relationship than like my relationship with my parents at the time when I was, Rory's age and broke up with my first boyfriend. I think my parents were like so elated. So it's just very different. But yeah, I know, I totally understand that like you would want to have stuff sometimes to look back on. And it is a part of who you are.
Emma, what's up, Emma?
That "I love you, you idiot" line is pretty. It's a pretty like big fan line, right? Like that's something that I.
Oh yeah.
Well. But is like "I'll kill you, you idiot"? Is that a big fan line?
Yeah, both of them are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I mean, that's all I thought. I was just like, oh my God, that is just brilliant writing. Like to like put those together like that. It was great with Tristan there in the background. I mean, that whole scene was just delightful. I can't imagine switching teams, but I guess we'll see.
Oh, you'll see. Emma wanted to say something?
Yeah. What I was gonna say is one thing I never understand is how Clara doesn't know who Rory is. Like when they first broke up, they broke up after 3 months, and she had been to his house before. So I just never understood how Clara doesn't know who she is. Like that is something that has always baffled me every single time I watch the show.
It is weird, Emma, and I think it's because that's the first time we meet Clara, and so it's just like it's a continuity problem. She was never introduced before, and so yeah, it is weird.
That makes sense, actually. I never thought about that.
She feels like a character that was just created for the episode. I mean,
absolutely.
We're being totally honest. One thing that I think is so fun about this whole season is watching how the writers use characters that they established early on, and or the ones that they continued with, right? Like, so for example, Kirk, right? How that character has evolved just in season 1, or Taylor just in season 1, or the Troubadour just in season 1, seeing them for the first time is just this like little thing that, we're going to like kind of try it out, and then to see those characters evolve. I mean, with the Troubadour, like to evolve to a point where he's got his like own big scene. I can't imagine that that's what they imagined, that's what they thought for the character when they first put him in. I know that like, Sean, I remember his role growing and he feeling like his role was growing, right? So it's cool. We're watching this, again, like streaming style. So we're watching it in like such a compressed amount of time. But we got to remember, like, this show was created, written even, over many months. The later episodes of the season, a lot of that stuff, was just roughed out, just the general idea of what might happen. They didn't get into the nitty gritty of like, all of the like small plot lines and characters and whatnot. They didn't know that stuff at the very beginning of the season. And you just sort of lose sight of that in like an age now where like television is sort of, you know, every show that you watch now on Netflix, like that's all been written ahead of time. The whole thing has been written and figured out, a lot of times totally shot together, you know, and that's not the way shows used to be made. And Gilmore Girls is an example of that. And there's something really fun about watching the writers actually thinking and making decisions about what they want this story to be like as we're watching it.
So, Sherry? No, I'm very crafty, and a bunch of us are actually, we've been friends since the first fan fest, the first virtual fan fest in October. And I started trying to make shirts for all of us, because this one guy online, he has all of the, you know, a bunch of different characters. There are so many characters that are focal points besides Lorelai, Rory, and her parents, that I just kept on saying, and the guy was just like, I can't make them. There's too many characters to do. So it's just amazing how every single character has their own arc, and you can watch just one person like Kirk, you know, his growth, because it's not just them, it's the whole town, and it's fabulous.
Yeah, I was gonna ask more like a technical side of point, like from John, because I like am obsessed with like the production side of things. I've been wanting to ask this for a couple nights, I just hadn't yet. But like the scenes where they're facing each other and the camera pans back and forth, do they just like film each side separately, or do they go back and forth filming those? I just am curious on that.
The last part of that I missed. You're asking.
Yeah, so like, there was a couple nights ago a scene where Rory and Lorelai were in the kitchen, and they were on opposite sides of the kitchen, and the cameras kept panning back and forth between them, like during the conversation.
Yeah. Okay.
So how do they film it?
They rebuild it, right? So as I mentioned before, like a lot of those sets, most of those sets can be, the walls move, you know, they can be like reconfigured and whatnot, or completely emptied out, and then it's just like a just big empty room. And that's so that you can put the camera in you know, a variety of places, and you can construct it to be whatever you need it to be. And so typically the way that shows are shot is and it's actually one of the things that makes it's the most complicated part of the actual on-set production is the lighting, right? And so what has, you know, what sort of holds the production up very often is the crew preparing the lighting for a particular shot, except that the lighting has to change based on where the camera is. And so they do a lighting setup for the camera to be in one direction, and they shoot everything that needs to be in that direction, because they don't want to have to take the lights back down, and you know, they don't want to have to redo the lights. So everything in the direction that Lorelai was in, for example, including any like wider shot of Lorelai, any closer shot of Lorelai, right? Like that's all done first, right? And then once they've gotten all the shots from that direction, then everybody goes to their trailer, you know, like, and we are not doing anything for an hour, maybe sometimes 2 hours, depending on how complicated the scene is to light, because now they are taking down walls, resetting things up, putting the lights on the other side, getting all of that. And so then when we come back, everything is in the opposite direction, and now they shoot everything in the opposite direction. So those scenes, like all of Lorelai's lines, may have been performed by Lorelai like an hour or two before the lines that Rory is doing. Of course, when Rory does her lines, like, you know, Lauren Graham is there on set, she's just sort of on the other side of the camera doing that to her. But, we see it as all happening at, in one moment, but it actually was, those two actors, that what's edited together, those two things were shot at different times because they had to, because in order to light both sides of the shot requires, an hour worth of preparation to like get everything behind Lorelai, correctly set and also correctly lit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's so interesting. I love that kind of stuff. But that's cool. So it's just they're shot totally separate sides of the conversation. So they're doing it one on one. Cool.
Yeah, I mean they what they call it when it's your close up, right? They call that coverage, right? So like they'll get, this actor's coverage, that actor's coverage. That means that like, okay, now we need to do the entire scene again, but the camera's fixed on you now, right? And including like maybe you don't even have many lines. They just now have the camera fixed on you and you're just, just watching the other actors because they might need that. They might need an occasional cutaway to you just watching the conversation or something.
Well, that's
when
cool.
we get into the first scenes of the band, I'm going to bring that up again because there's something that Adam Brody did on set on that first episode that I'll never forget and is very much in the like it's relevant to this particular conversation.
Cool. I wanted to mention really quick, isn't Kirk not originally Kirk, like in the beginning of season 1?
He was mixed.
Yeah, that's right. He was like a delivery guy that Emily had hired.
For the DSL.
Yeah. And then he made another appearance as like another just like random like
the swan.
Yeah, he was the swan guy at the wedding. Yeah. And then he was Kirk. He was just there constantly.
Or Kirk the jerk, as referred to as Miss Patty when she first meets him in the Daisies market.
I was just
when he first like introduced as Kirk.
Right, yeah, which is hilarious. Which is hilarious because it's like he's always been there, but like it's weird.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, John.
Hmm?
I'm just talking about the wedding proposal, the marriage proposal from Max Medina.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, are we not going to talk about the Max in the room? No, the Max in the room.
The Max.
I mean, yeah.
Well, which one are you talking about?
Let me hold off my feelings on the whole thing. I want to hear how other people are feeling about that. About obviously, yeah, the proposal after the bickering match was kind of ridiculous. But I'm more curious how people are feeling about that like room full of daisies. Or were they daisies? What were they? Those were
1,000 yellow daisies.
Daisies, yeah.
Just a notch above weeds, as Michelle says.
No, yeah, they are basically daisies are basically weeds.
No, they're my
They look like
flower. Daisies are the best.
That's very Lorelai, though, to like pick the thing that she thinks is beautiful, not because it's fancy, but because it's just like, I don't know, just down to earth.
The daisies make you happy.
Yeah, I love the daisies.
Sabrina.
Yes.
How are you feeling about that scene? I just want to know.
What about it? Like about the daisy scene?
Yes.
I just had the same thought that I have every time, which is this is not 1,000 daisies. Like I just think back to Amy's commentary on it. I don't know. It's. I think the fight the day before, whenever it was before that, I would still feel really uneasy if that were the case. Like he's trying to make up for it, but they haven't really been together that long, and it just doesn't seem like we see them together that much before this happens. So it's just it gives me pause, even though it's very romantic.
Reminds me of the Utah proposal.
I just think I just thought it was just so incredibly over the top, and maybe that's I don't know, maybe that's just my perspective on it, or how I would feel about. But I mean, is that like, how about this, Flash or Mike? If like you'd be into that, like somebody leaving you 1,000 yellow daisies like in a room.
Well, not daisies, but yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
Make it like roses.
As long as they clean it up.
All right, and
some
then,
sort of flower.
And then Flash or Mike, if you're kind of like, that would actually just kind of turn you off.
It's a lot of money.
It's interesting. That's basically like almost a 50-50 split. I was probably a little erring on the side of folks who would like the daisies. I don't know. That's interesting. I would have assumed that something like that would just be like, you know, categorically over the top. So it was so to me, I was just surprised by I guess they kind of it dampens it a bit by the fact that he's on the, then he calls her on the phone, because I guess I was sort of expecting him to like kind of saunter out from one of the rooms, you know, get on his knee with like with a diamond ring, and I was just going to then like just puke basically.
Isn't that what you're saying, Diane, when we were watching the show, that you would hope that he would be there instead? Diane?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
John was just saying that he would think that like Max would come out of the room somewhere, and then they would have like this grand moment, you know. And when we were watching the show, didn't you say something along the lines of that also?
Yes, I did. I definitely would have expected him to, have just appeared, not to actually be calling her on the phone. But I still think it was very romantic.
This is big. It's really big, you know.
Okay, I'm just gonna speak.
Sorry. Yeah, go for it.
You're totally fine. So,
by the way, we can if there's some air, like take it, you know.
Well, sometimes when I start to speak, someone else speaks. I don't know if that people are flashing at the bottom too. No. So this whole episode reeks of like love languages in very different aspects, right? And so Matt is kind of that like gifts and like words of affirmation. Clearly, that's how he shows his love language. I haven't figured out really Rory's, because hold on, my Netflix is being weird. But for me, like, I'm a hopeless romantic, so like big gestures would kind of be like a thing that I would love. Like, I'm more of like physical touch than anything else, but I also do love like words of affirmation. So regardless of like Max being there or being on the phone, I think it would have had just as much like romanticism or that whole thing there, regardless if he was there or not. But when Lorelai was saying you talk good, the grammar snob in me wanted to really just like bring her neck, be like, that is not grammatically correct, but you do you. But no, I think it's really beautiful. Daisies wouldn't have been my first choice, would have been like roses or lilies, but no, I just think it's cute, and I would love a grand gesture like that.
I just felt that it was all so forced, and I like Max. I'm not team Max, but I like Max, but this whole thing just seems so forced after Luke leaves, and it's all this knee-jerk reaction. And I mean, that's a big question. It's not saying, will you be my girlfriend? I mean, he's saying, will you be my wife? And it's just, wow, out of nowhere. And I think John had already mentioned that. It's just, wow. And I'm a quality time person, so that probably wouldn't fly with me, because
nothing was really quality and in person. Not even asking her initially in person the night before or whenever it was.
I agree. Like that whole thing was so cringeworthy for me. Like, okay, yeah, there's like this moment when she opens the door and you see the daisies and you kind of think, oh, that's sweet. And then when he starts talking to her and he's essentially proposing to her as a way to have a solution to their problem, why they keep fighting. Like, it's like, we're in this bad habit of fighting and getting angry at each other, and like, so let's get married to solve that problem. Like, I'm sorry, that's not the way I would ever want to be proposed to. Like, let's get married to solve a problem. Like, I want somebody to propose to me because they want to be with me, not to fix an issue.
I don't think he was doing that because he wanted to fix the issue. Like, sometimes timing is really bad, but I think like he generally does love her, and regardless of how it came out, actually, like, he might have just said it in a weird timing, but Sherry?
I think it's a culminating, like him kind of being like Max being sort of like subconscious or kind of being like intimidated by the relationship that Lorelai and Luke have, and then you know, him saying that he didn't propose out of like, you know, anything other than love. So it could be like that intimidation factor. It could be the love sort of thing. It could be like all different sorts of things. But I'd have to tend to agree. As much as I like Max, this is just a way wrong.
Well, they weren't together that long. They were together for a short period of time. They broke up. They got back together. And the second he feels that Luke is interested, because you got to realize Luke's there, he's probably going to be coming there to say, Rachel left, I like you. And Max picked up on something between them, and then it was a pissing contest. So I think he proposed because he was jealous. He was threatened. They really weren't together very long for them to all of a sudden be, let's get married.
Agreed. Also notice how he looked at Luke like during the town meeting, and the way he kind of wrapped his arm around Lorelai and kind of grabbed her and everything like that, especially after Luke had left. So it's definitely that for sure. I agree.
I don't think timing really means too much, because I mean, if anybody knows Utah is extremely famous for getting together and getting married within like a 6-month period, sometimes even 5 months. So it happens. So I don't think really timing's the issue. It'd just be like the way Max went about it, and how, like, I mean, Virginia, you are kind of correct on that, where like he was either intimidated or jealous or anything like that. So I don't think it's timing really. I think it's more like how he started to pick up on Luke and Lorelai.
Krista, go ahead.
Thanks. I was thinking it was really interesting when they were having their argument, that when Max said like they have to find a solution to stop doing this, Lorelai's first reaction or first idea was to break up, and then his idea is to get married. Like, that says a lot about
So true. So true.
That's true.
Or murder suicide.
Yes, exactly.
I hadn't actually thought about that until you mentioned it, Sherry. That it's true. I mean, of course, it happens right after Luke leaves. You know, like that he asks her to marry her. How weird, you know? Like, it. The more I think about it, the more it really truly does feel like this guy is doing these grand gestures here, like slightly out of desperation. I don't really have a problem, I guess, with big romantic gestures. I just think that they've got to be earned. And I don't feel like this relationship has earned that kind of a gesture.
Yeah. Go ahead, yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say I was literally saying earned as you. It's unearned, as you said, earned. But what always, like, I think this is a great season finale as season finales go. But what literally always physically frustrates me about it is every guy in this episode with the Gilmore Girls is consistently not believing what they say when it comes to another guy. So we have Tristan like being like, you're going out with me, you're going out with me, you're going out with me, and she keeps saying no. We have Dean saying, you're with that guy, and she's like, no, I'm not. Like, and he just like won't take that as truth until like it's forced on him. And then we have Max not believing Lorelai when she's like, no, there's nothing there. It's really frustrating. Like, I find myself just get like having anxiety about it. I'm like, why can't these men just like listen and just believe what they're saying? And I think that's like reason enough for Lorelai not to marry him, because like he doesn't even listen to her.
Oh, that's an interesting point. I was gonna say, like, I think what turned me off about this relationship, now keep in mind, like, I really do enjoy Max as a character. I'm not team Max by any means, but I mean, I don't hate the guy. But in that scene where she calls Max after she sees the thousands of yellow daisies, and you know, he's talking all these like romantic prose and whatnot, and she just says like, oh, you talk good, you know, like I was like, I don't think she's one, mature enough, and two, like, and not to say that like Lorelai's an idiot or anything, I think she's an intelligent woman, but I don't think she's like there like at a certain place to date someone like Max. And that's what kind of turned me off about this whole relationship. I was like, yeah, I'm having my doubts. So
in general, with the characters Rory and Lorelai, they parallel. Without saying who I think is the Christopher and who I think is the Luke, I definitely have always said that Dean is Max. They kind of parallel. And I don't know if you'll agree with me later on, but with Lorelai saying, you talk good, I think she's being kind of sarcastic. You know, it's just giving him a little bit more of a boost, an ego boost, because she's not sure. You notice he says, I love you. She never said it back. So I think it was kind of like an ego boost for him. It kind of like a little bit of a nugget. Also, didn't she have an office, a smaller office? They could have put the 1,000 yellow daisies in her actual office and not look like it's a million of them. And that would absolutely kill my allergies. I wouldn't have been able to walk into that room.
I think the whole reason Lorelai says you talk good is because he's a literature teacher, an English teacher.
Yeah, I don't think it's because he's stupid. I think it's because of that. He's very intelligent, and she's kind of giving him a little boost.
I think it was a play on words.
Yeah, she seemed like she was starting to get kind of like woozy, and like it was working on her, you know, when he was talking about like all the grand pros and, you know, like what kind of man would he be if he was going to teach about all these great, you know, characters but not live up to be that kind of character. You could kind of see like her body, you know, position just kind of melt when he was saying that. And then she said, ooh, you talk good. I don't think it was like a fake thing, like she was just trying to ego boost him, but I think she was like identifying like, ooh, you're smoothing me over right now.
I could see that. That makes sense.
But of course, as an audience member, you're, I mean, that's how I interpreted it as well. That she was like you talk good. You're getting me right now. But as a viewer, I couldn't help but think, that guy just talks way too good. You know, like it just felt like not necessarily that he's like, you know, manipulative, but that like that's all he sort of relies on is that just, you know, his way with words and his you know, his charm, you know, as an academic and an intellectual.
It does seem manipulative to me as well, somewhat at least.
Yeah, like a smooth talker.
Yeah, I think he is.
I think Anna and Shelley
were trying to unmute also, right?
Say again?
I think Hannah and Shelly, they look like they were about to unmute also.
Hannah, Shelly, do you guys have anything
I
that you
just dropped my phone.
I did not. But I did see PJ Harvey when I was 16 years old in 1996, and I thought I always liked this episode, and I just love all of their, where they had like, they have had all kinds of music throughout the whole seasons, and that's like my favorite part of the whole show is the music. But anyway, I think that Max is just not good for Lorelai. Just all around. I don't know, just a strange character, and I never thought she should be dating her daughter's teacher, and I don't know. It all seems strange to me.
Tasha.
Thank you. Okay. One, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, so don't come at me for this. I don't know why so many people are like pissing on Max. Like, I get that, like, the majority, 99% of us, including myself, have seen the series, knows what happens, and that's why we say what we say. But at the same time, like, Max is not that bad of a person. Like, yeah, like, it's not super cool to like date your daughter's teacher, but it's not like it doesn't happen in real life. So I mean, I don't see the big deal per se, except for how it kind of derailed earlier in the season. But I don't see the big deal about dating someone's teacher. Two, like, if someone's like a good, like, I mean, he's an English teacher. He has a way with words. It's just like who he is. And so I kind of feel like, I mean, this might just be coming from a girl who's more a lot of a words of affirmation type person. But I think like what he did was sweet, and like, yeah, it was kind of like weird timing and stuff like that. But it's not like totally out of the ordinary for someone to propose that way, or to say like how he said it or anything like that. And like, if you remember, the reason why she didn't say I love you, because you remember in the beginning of the phone call, he said, like, don't speak type thing, because he wanted to get out what he said. So
Tiffany, did you want to say something still?
Yeah, I was just going to say something, and I think Shelly left. I don't see her on here, but kind of what she said about how, you know, dating her teacher. It just seemed kind of weird for me, where like Lorelai was so protective over bringing any guys home, or, you know, interfering at all with Rory's life, with whoever she dated. And then so like the first guy she decides to do that with is her teacher. Like, that just seems kind of weird.
Sherry?
I was just going to say that I don't hate Max as a person. I actually like the character of Max. I just don't think that he's right for Lorelai. I don't think that, and Lorelai is an extremely intellectual person. You know, that's one of the reasons why Emily is so mad at her, is because she had so much potential, but she just dropped the ball with one mistake. She can keep up with him intellectually. I just don't think the two of them are a good match.
I agree.
Feedback?
I agree too. I'm back.
I actually wanted Max to work out initially, and then I just saw this, maybe insecurity, if you will, some possessiveness, some manipulation, and I started to lose that Max love.
I think Max is acting incredibly immature. I mean, for one, at the town meeting, he's like, oh, let me pull you closer, like, or in high school, I'm going to put, like, you're mine, sort of thing. And then when he sees Luke at the house, he's like, well, let's have this little competition, because I'm insecure about you coming into my relationship. Even after Luke leaves and Lorelai's like, no, nothing is there. He like doesn't even trust her, which is one, like, you shouldn't get married if you don't have trust between you. And he was just acting so ridiculous. Like, the whole teacher thing, that's a little weird. I don't think it's as like weird as people make it out to be. I think Max talking to Rory in school about him and her mother is weird, but I don't think them dating and him not talking to her about it, I think that's fine. But I mean, Max just seems, whether, like, taking aside any history I know about him, just from this scene here with him, you know, fighting, and he caused this like argument, and then was like, he went, well, we get into these, this is what, like, we start and we do this, when Max literally started this big argument over accusing her of dating someone she repeatedly said she didn't date.
Totally. I mean, yeah, like,
he doesn't seem to trust her, like, at all. And then he's like, marry me. Let's solve our problem. Marry me, because this is all I know how to do, because now you're mine if we're married, and you can't ever be with anybody else, because I don't believe that you weren't with, like, seriously. It's incredibly immature.
Lily, I love that you brought up the trust issue, because that is just huge. And I don't know who said this, and I apologize for that, but you're right. Lorelai was so protective over who she dated and really kept that very far away from Rory. So to all of a sudden date Rory's teacher at Rory's new school seemed very out of character for the storylines that we have learned laying the groundwork in the show.
But she's not a kid anymore.
I think that had Max earned his time and, you know, earned his efforts with Lorelai and everything like that, and built that relationship and, like, had built that trust, I think that it might have been received a little bit differently, instead of, like, out of the seat of a argument and trying to resolve in that way. And I think that that's where, you know, if two people are arguing and everything like that, that just doesn't seem like the most romantic gesture to have a proposal come out of an argument, in my opinion. And then not only that, but, like, their timeline, they had just been speaking on the phone for 2 weeks. This was going to be their first date to actually see each other in a really long time, wasn't it? And so then after their breakup, because prior to this night, they were only talking on the phone for 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden he's proposing to her.
Good but point. It's not the same day as the town meeting. The town meeting is usually, I think, supposedly on a Thursday, and I think the date was a different day, so it was afterwards.
Even so, that's, like, really quick. And it's like really weird and possessive. Like, let me just marry you because I'm jealous of this other dude. I mean, the Daisies, if they didn't have the fight, if I didn't see the fight beforehand and, you know, whatever, the Daisies, that was cute. That was whatever. That was nice. Definitely not 1,000, but it was still really cute. The whole, she's gonna call me, like, how would you 100% know she's gonna call you? That's a little weird, but, like, come on, Max, give it a little time. Date her for, like, a month before you're like, I'm just gonna marry you. Like, don't be weird.
Hey everyone. Just really quick, you might have noticed everyone suddenly was becoming a moderator. That's usually a clue that I am about to head off myself.
John,
that's gonna be tough.
What did you feel about Rachel dumping Luke?
I didn't really feel anything. I have to be honest. That character has been so felt anything to that character.
I told you.
I can't really explain it other than, like,
it's just there to cause issues.
Yeah, this was bound to happen at some point, you know, but I'm kind of glad that it happened sooner rather than late. I'm glad it happened now, because I don't really feel like there was much more that I was interested in knowing about their relationship. There was a moment for a second there was a very small moment where I thought she was going to tell him that she's pregnant. I don't know why, but, like, there was something there, and when she was, like, trying to get his attention, I was like, oh, is that why she's sticking around?
I thought she didn't have much substance. So.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of set up this character to be, you know, everything that we heard about the character set up my expectations for somebody that was just way different from what I got. I guess is the best way to explain it.
I was going to point that in the morning show, or maybe sometime yesterday, I can't remember, but I was thinking about this, like, you know, she's talked up to be sort of like this Wonder Woman, and then she's just that, you know, like it just,
like
the character wasn't fleshed out, and I think like it just made her so boring when they just kind of hyped her up to be like Wonder Woman, and then it just fell flat. When she
she was the woman who got away to him, and when you see her, it's like, okay, and
right, exactly.
Well, I think they were just talking about her looks, because they like remember during the concert episode, Suki was talking about was explaining Rachel to Lorelai about like her looks and all of that stuff. So I think it was mainly just like looks based.
No, well, I was just going to say that Suki actually says that she like, you know, like cliff diving and stuff, you know, like, you know, I mean, she's like, actually, they actually reference specific things about her that when I saw her, I was kind of like, I can't imagine her like cliff diving, you know, like I couldn't imagine this person. I was imagining this like fiery, like a really fiery, you know, a person who can't really settle in any place, you know, they're just constantly like, you know, exploring, and you know, and what I feel we got was somebody who is I guess just an explorer because her job has her going around the world, you know. Hey Mary, we missed you.
Hi guys, I'm amazed you guys are still talking. I came down to turn off the recording and you guys are all still gabbing away.
Yeah, of course.
So I don't want to, I want to listen in tomorrow because I recorded it. I want to see what you guys' reactions are live. It was kind of a loaded question.
The live was good. The post-show discussion was a lot about those daisies.
What did you think of the daisies? Is that crazy?
What do you think?
Honestly, I'm not someone who likes over-the-top shows, like that kind of thing. I also think that a proposal should be private, personally. So the fact that he did it at her workplace, I didn't think was appropriate.
Right.
Good point.
Yeah, it's sort of like proposing on a jumbotron at like a baseball game.
Also, she runs an inn. Like, what did he think she was going to do with all these daisies in her workplace? Like, that's.
Do you not remember her saying everyone gets one?
No, I know, but like, it's still a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, through that lobby,
yeah,
through
like,
your room.
It's a place where people are visiting and staying. It's kind of rude.
You should have been like,
how?
Max, thank you, but this is a place.
How? People do grand gestures at places all the time. Like, I've seen people where, like, one of my favorite gymnasts, she got proposed to on Wrigley Field. So it's not, like, totally crazy to have it at, like, a crazy place.
Well, I would hate it if somebody did that at my work. Well, like, there's so many daisies, like, you couldn't even move in there. Like, so how are guests even supposed to get in there? And then heaven forbid if, like, somebody has an allergy. Like, I don't know. It's very inappropriate, in my opinion. But everybody has a different opinion.
I guess it means understanding the person hopefully you know them well enough that you know them well enough to propose to them the way that's best for them to receive.
Isn't that the whole point of proposals, though? It to be like sporadic and you don't really know and things like that. It's the whole point of proposals.
All right, everybody. I will be back tomorrow at 8 a.m. for beginning of season.
Woohoo! Good night.
Night, everybody.